Skatter to you today. But firstly, I want to really give a big thank you to the SketchUcation team, which have organized this event and which have been a really great support for me and Skatter. So thanks to them, I think at the end of the event they should get a big applause. Yes. Just some information about me. I'm a 3D artist. I do renderings for architects, and I've been using SketchUp for many years now, mainly during my architecture studies, because I've not been, I graduated only 2 years ago, so I'm pretty young, as you can see. But so during my studies, I've been doing more and more rendering in SketchUp, because I really love SketchUp. I love using it and working in it, but it can be frustrating sometimes particularly when I started doing a lot of vegetation rendering, using a lot of vegetation inside the renderings. SketchUp couldn't handle it, so I had to move to 3ds Max, and this was a really big frustration. So I looked into a way to do that in SketchUp, and that's how Skatter started. I won't be standing during the presentation. I will be sitting because I need to use the mouse, and on the stands it's not really practical. So if you cannot hear me really well, please tell me, because I have tendency to speak quite low, and besides I will be sitting, so don't hesitate to tell me to speak louder. Alright, so I get right into it, because I think a lot of you want to see how it works and what it can do. So I won't be chatting too much. So the basic idea of Skatter is to be scattering components or groups on surfaces or along curves. So it works pretty straightforward. You can create any surface you want. You group it, because everything has to be a group to work with Skatter, because it's completely parametric. You can change parameters after you have generated everything. You can go back to edit your setups and groups after you have closed and reopened SketchUp, etc. So that's why I'm creating a group for my surface here. And let's say I want to scatter a lot of sticks on here, so I just open Skatter, and here you see I have a wall out, which is called surfaces. I just click the button, select my surface, and you see I already have some insertion points, and then I just select my objects, and I'm done. And so now I can edit. So just goes back to the preview, and I have a lot of options for random rotation, random scale, mirroring, etc. So, and then just generate again. Well, of course you cannot really see the rotation because it's a face me component. So, so just to go a little bit more onto the rendering side. I have started this project for me, actually. At first, I didn't intend to make it public when I started this. So that's why you may have the feeling that it's focused on rendering, but actually you can do whatever you want with it. You don't have to do rendering at all. You can scatter whatever you want. Just I have created a library, a content library for now for rendering. But here I have a few grass setups, so I can just choose one, load. I choose my surface, and now I can render it if it works. And as you can see, there is nothing in the viewport, but it's being rendered. As you can see, I have a full grass geometry on my surface, and it's really lightweight in the viewport, because nothing is generated in the model. I'm working with the render engines guys to bypass SketchUp. Actually, all the data is directly sent to the render engine, so your file is really lightweight. It doesn't lag or anything. It's really fast. So that's it. So the library will get more and more content, obviously, throughout the new versions. So just to get back quickly to how Skatter works itself, I just create a new one. Let me delete this one. Okay, so just to create a new one, to show you a bit more all all the options and parameters you have access to. So let's say I want to create a small object, I want to scatter on my surface here. So I'll make it a component, so that we can edit it later and everything will be updated, but it works very fine with groups also. You don't have to use components. So as I did before, I choose my surface, I choose my object, and now I can generate if I want, but I have a lot of options for distribution. So here you see I chose, this is the default, this is a uniform distribution, so it's kind of random, but not completely, because with a true random generation you will have clusters and holes, and sometimes you want pretty uniform distribution, but kind of random. So this was intended mainly for grass. As you can expect, grass to be really uniform on the surface. So it's actually a grid underneath, but so we have spacing in. Well, let me start with grid so you can see what it is. So grid is just square grid with spacing in the x-axis and y-axis. So if I put 3 in the x, you see I have 3 meters here and 1 meter in the y-axis, the green axis actually. And so I have rotation also. I can rotate with this is in degrees. So the units, the length units are in the model units. So now I'm using meters, but if you switch to inches or whatever, it will work as well. I mean, if I was in inches, this will be 3 inches, right? Obviously. So yeah, grid is pretty straightforward. If I switch to uniform, it's pretty much the same, but you have jitter parameters. So jitter is actually, if I go back to grid here, jitter is a percentage, a random percentage between the spacing here. So this item here could move in all this area, but not further. So it will be kind of random, but not too much. So if I put with uniform here, I can put 50%, and you will see that we see a bit more the grid itself. If I go to 20%, you see it aligns on the grid. You have a true random generation distribution. So here you see you have more clusters and holes. So sometimes that's what you want, obviously. And so you just have a simple density parameter. So it's the number of items per unit. You can generate on vertices. So here I have only 4 vertices, but if I add a complex geometry, all vertices will get 1 item. The same goes for faces. Oh, well, it doesn't work here. Okay. Well, it's still in alpha stage, so it's possible that during the presentation there will be bugs and maybe crashes, but obviously for now it's not yet on sale, so there is still a lot of work to do to really fix all those bugs. To continue, let me open another model I've prepared. So it's a simple terrain. just a shape like this. To show you a bit more parameters. So I take the same as before. I have all my items scattered on my surface. And I have, here you see, normal parameters. So it means for now, all the items are pointing up, as you can see here. But you have all the range between the up vector and the normal. The normal being, if you're not familiar with what the normal is, it's completely perpendicular to the face. So here you see it's perpendicular to the face, and I can go in between and choose with the slider what I want. You have altitude range, so you can say to the plugins, okay, so after a certain height from the origin of the model, you stop scattering items. So I can go higher, maybe 30 meters, and you can have a fall-off. Like, let's say I have 30 meters fall-off, so it means between the 0 and 30 meters, there will be less and less items scattered. The same goes for the bottom. If I put 5 meters here, below 5 meters, nothing will be generated. The same goes for slope. So if a slope is too steep, like for now the parameter is set on 80, but you can put a lower value like 50, no, 40. Okay, so you see this slope is steeper than 40 degrees, so nothing is generated here. So it can be useful for a mountain, or a very steep slope where you don't want some trees to be scattered there, but everything else. And you have fall-offs as well, so you won't have this hard edge. You can tell it to have a density fall-off items, but you can also tell the plugin you want a scale fall-off. So here you see it's smaller and smaller as you go into the slope. We also have collisions. So let's say our object is much bigger. Now if I preview, they are overlapping. So maybe I want them not to overlap. So I can check collisions. Now you see they are not overlapping, and we have a multiplier for the size. It's based on the longest size of the item, and it draws a circle around it. If I put 50, you see it's denser, etc. And we can have multiple items, of course, multiple scattered objects like this. I just chose it here. And here you see, here you see all the little ones are much closer one to the others, and they are not overlapping with the big ones. When we have multiple objects like this, we can have probabilities. So let's say I want the big one to be less present in the less big object will be scattered on the surface. So I can put like 20% of probability. So here you can see there is less big ones than small ones, and you can put any value. So that's collisions. One of the big benefits of this plugin is that you can use areas. So obviously at any point I can just generate, and it will generate everything in the model. But as you can see, it's much slower. So the red preview is much better for previewing what you're doing like this. I can draw an area, like let's say a circle. I want only, I will make a group as well because everything has to be a group. Let's say I want items only in this area of the surface. So here I can go to the area rollout, select my area. I untick this box because it's considering that the boundaries of the surface is an area, but we don't want that for now, so there you go. And so you can see it's a vertical projection of the circle. Even though it's far away from the surface underneath, it's projected, so if I put the view above, you can see it's following the circle itself. So you can have an area like this. You can move it and update, of course. You can rescale it. That's it. And one big feature is painting areas. So you can create a new paint area here. You select a brush radius, let's say 5 meters for this, and I can paint, and this adds automatically items everywhere in the area. Okay, let me just get this back up right here. I move it over there. Okay, that's good. Just update, and that's it. Okay, so I'm much denser density, so you can see. You can have fall-offs also, a density fall-off from the boundary of the area. So let me remove this one. Just make it denser. 1.5 like this. Okay.
So each area have a separate setting?
No. No. You have one set of settings for every area, but you can create new scatter setups.
Yeah.
I hesitate to do each area settings per area, but I think it's better to keep it simple.
Yeah.
For the user. So I have density fall-off in here. So as you can see, if I put a bigger number, like 5 meters, you can see it's, when it's going away from the boundary of the area, it's getting less and less dense, more and more dense, sorry. So it can be more and more like this. And the same goes for scale. Here you see, if I disable density fall-off and have just a scale, like put 10 meters here, you see that when it goes to the boundary, it's getting smaller and smaller. You can put a value to have at the scale at the boundary of the area.
You have negative numbers.
Sorry?
You have negative numbers, like negative distance for the scale.
You can invert the fall-off like this. So here the areas are overlapping. So that's something I need to fix. But here you can see, if I put 0 here, you can see you have inverted fall-off like this. So it's big at the edge, and then it's getting smaller and smaller until it disappears. The same goes for density. You can invert the fall-off, so you have only on the edges. You have items only on the edges. And of course, as it's the paint is considered to be an area, so I can go and edit it again, and it will just update like this. It's not static, so you can always go back to your parameters and change everything.
Can you go into an individual tree and take a couple of instances out?
You can also, here it's in the surface rollout. You can take this tool and just add a few of them where you want.
Okay.
And it's completely separate from the surface, so you can click wherever you want, and you just add them. So, just to finish on the areas, yeah, I can paint obviously I can erase also like this. You can use the areas as exclude. So let's say I want items everywhere except in the areas. So let me uncheck this. And then I say to the areas that they are exclude. And there you can see I have excluded all of these items. And I can always go back and paint again to exclude. You have random transformation. So here you can see they are all aligned. Every item is aligned with the original. It's just a copy. But you can transform them randomly. So here I have rotation. You have these are default parameters, but you can put anything you want in there. So let's say I want in the z-axis to rotate them between 10 and maybe 40 degrees, and that's it. You can also scale them between any value you want. So it's pseudo-random, so you will get predictable results. Each time you edit the setup or you reopen SketchUp, you will always get the same pseudo-random stuff. So it looks random, but it's actually not so. So it's interesting because sometimes you always want the setup to look the same. Like if you have placed trees, you want to get the same placement when you reopen the model, obviously. You have horizontal mirroring, so it just flips the items, and you can translate them in an axis. So let's say I want to scatter them in a vertical direction as well. So let's say between 0 and 20 meters, and there you can see they are flying. Or I can put negative values, like minus 5 and 5. So, and you are always keeping the area, of course. So as I was saying, you can always render only your setup. So you have two modes. You have normal mode, which is when you click on generate, you have actual components in the model like this. So it's actual geometry. You can go in and just remove some of them, but if you regenerate again, they will appear again, obviously. But you have a second mode, which is render only. So that's interesting to you if you are doing renderings. If I edit it and just let me end this quickly. Okay. So let's say I want to see everything you see on the screen will be rendered, but it won't be present in the model, so it will be very lightweight. So I check render only and then click generate, and then I can go to my renderer, and there you can see there is nothing in the viewports. And just click render and they are all there. So you can scatter hundreds of thousands of components and render all of them without getting SketchUp to scroll. Because obviously when you have way too much geometry in SketchUp, you cannot use it. It's on its knees.
Can your render be used for like inside interior rooms or?
Yeah, of course. You can scatter anything you want. Just an example. Here I'm outside, but I can do that. This with rugs. They create a little rug. I don't know how it's called in English. Tuft, yeah, and then they scatter on a surface to create a rug. So Yeah, you can do it.
Does it work with other rendering programs, your Skatter?
Sorry?
Does it work with other rendering programs? If I put spotlights inside the room in the grass?
It has to happen on the renderer side, so I have to work with the developers of the render engines to make it work. So for now it works with FIA, Twilight, V-Ray, Khaki FIA also. But more we come.
Will you develop some parametric?
Sorry?
Will you develop some parametric solution? For example, maybe you get the cube, the surface in the building, and you want to adjust some square on this curved surface. And the things you scatter will adapt to be like a parametric object. You know what I mean? Like we can do it with Revit, for example. We can produce a piece and cover a cube surface.
Yeah, of course you can do that because here you can see it's all one component. So you can have very subtle random transformation. It can be really subtle.
But it works already or not yet?
Yeah.
This option.
What do you mean it works already?
For example, if imagine this is the shape of the building,
Yeah.
this cube, and we decide to cover this surface with square glasses, for example. And some part of the glasses we have to adapt their shape
Oh.
to cover the surface.
Oh, you mean bend them?
Yes, bend them and
No, that's not possible.
size them
No,
like parametric object.
no, that's not.
By
No.
extension, it could be an option in the future.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's possible in SketchUp actually. Yeah, we will have to create a lot of unique components.
Okay.
It won't be the same anymore. So. But yeah, I keep that in mind and see what I can do. Just to finish on the presentation, you can scatter along curves as well. So here I have a curve, and I can select it here, and you see it scatter along this. So it's considering that there is only one axis, which is x, that is going along the curve. So let's say I go back to my distribution options. I pick grid. Okay, let's remove all the random transformations so you can see it better. So here you can see it's really regular because I chose grid. And the spacing is giving the distance between the items. But if I choose another mode, it works the same than a surface. You can have also, you can choose objects as exclude areas. So let's say I have a building somewhere in here, and you have like really big trees. I'm just using some cubes so you can see it easily. Something like this. I'll just say I remove this. Let's pick it. Okay. I will remove all the other areas so you can see clearly. And let's pick. We cannot really see it, but it's on here. And so I select my cube, and you can see that nothing is generated in the cube. There are some overlapping, but we can fix that with an option here. So size. And so it's also a projection. So if I have it way higher, like this, I can rotate it anywhere I want, like this, and I update, and here you can see the shape that is being projected down. Let's make it less dense so you can see it better. So yeah, more features will come in the future, but what you see here is what you'll get for the first public version. I won't add any more stuff. I will just, for now, I'm focusing on bug fixing and a lot of other stuff like licensing and stuff. But yeah, that's it. So do you have any question about it?
If you change the line, does Skatter moves with that line, does it? That path?
If I move the cube,
The other one,
the
mate.
path, yeah, I can edit it. Yeah, I cannot move one vertex because it's a curve. But I could. For now, it's better to use SketchUp curves. If the curve is not welded, it will try to re-weld it, but the results are more or less accurate. So it's better to use a real curve. So I can explode it and maybe edit it and just weld it again. If I have weld, I hope so. I don't have. So now I can just update. Here you have an update button, and you can see it follows. So I can generate. Oh no, I have to generate in normal mode. So here you can see I can save, close SketchUp, reopen it. No, I don't need read only. And I can go back and edit my setup and hidden geometry. And I can edit every parameter and go back and what did I do? Yeah.
I'd love to see like examples that you might have.
Yeah, sure.
used this
Sorry,
for.
I was. This was. These are a few images done by some users. So it's focused on rendering because that's the main goal of the plugin. But I mean,
Imagine it.
yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. You guys will will imagine a lot of use cases that I don't even think about. So this morning I was talking with the SketchUp team, and they were talking to me about landscape architecture, like can be used to generate quantities of grass, etc. This kind of use case can be. I mean, you yeah.
I could imagine it being used for simulating weathering on buildings, for instance, as well. You can have it maybe around the copings. You could have a texture that is slightly transparent that's coming through.
Sunscreening. Even for sunscreening.
Yeah.
And facade work.
Amazing. So good.
So this was done by Jan, is over there. So Jan is in the beta team. So if you want a user point of view, because I'm the developer, so I'm not very objective. But if you want the point of view of the user, you can go to him. I'm pretty sure he will be glad to answer your questions. So you can see it can do many sorts of stuff. Here everything is generated in Skatter. So the tiles, the blocks here on a large scale. So with some randomness.
And you can put the object. Can you layer? So you've got. So you have the sand underneath, and then you can put. So you put one material, and then the objects just go on top of it. Can you layer up different materials?
Yeah, if you have
Yeah.
different terrain. You mean?
With the same terrain, so you have the sand, and then you have the grass on top of it. So you have the mud through there. But is that just?
I guess sand would be just a texture.
Yeah, and then you put the components on top.
Yeah, not sure. So that's some examples.
Yeah.
There are a few limitations for now, but it will change in the future. For now, we can only project on the vertical axis, but in the future you will be able to pick any axis you want, or even on every face of an object. Yes.
You haven't shown the camera field of view.
Oh yeah, you are right. I forgot some stuff. Yeah. Let me open a new. can limit the scattering to only the camera viewing. So let's say I create a new scene like this. Wow, this is frustrating. Okay. So I want to scatter Steve everywhere except where the camera cannot see it. So I pick my surface, I pick Steve, and then I go to the camera rollout and I choose my scene, and I check exclude non-visible, and there you can see nothing that is not visible to the camera. They are not scattered. So it's really interesting when you have really huge numbers of items and you want only to render what you see. And the same goes for distance. So let's say I have a really long surface like this. Let me update like this. And I want it to be less and less dense as I move forward to the camera, from the camera. So I have distance clipping like this. I can change the distance, obviously, and I have a fall off. Yeah, because in the background you don't need as much density as in the foreground because it's you cannot see it as well. So yeah, thanks. So yeah, so
yes, when you scatter a line, can you do a fall off on the line as well?
a full what?
A fall off.
Yeah.
You should fall off.
From the start of the line.
Lines as well.
Oh.
How long do you reckon before it is up?
It's been a year, I think. Started.
And when do you reckon?
Before it goes
yeah.
out. A couple of months. I'm not sure.
Christmas
Exactly.
present?
Sorry.
Christmas present?
I hope it will go out before Christmas. Because, there is still, like I mentioned, still a lot to do. Even though you cannot see it.
No, it looks really
another
all
would
ready
so
to go.
a lot
Yeah.
of stuff.
That's really good.
So I'm hoping to get it out as fast as I can, but for now I'm not getting any income from it.
Yeah.
So I have another job,
Yeah.
obviously. So
Yeah.
after it goes live, I will be able to dedicate way more time to it because I will have income. As for the price, I cannot give you a precise price for now because I don't know. It not really depends on me because there are some things are out of my control and there are other people involved. But I think it will be in the range between 50 and 100 euros. So do you have any more questions? Or should I?